Dear ministers, vice ministers, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Minister of Science and Higher Education of the Republic of Kazakhstan, let me greet you all at this very important meeting, Transforming Education Pre-Summit. Today, Kazakhstan is included in the group of countries with a high level of Human Development Index and occupies 51st position among 189 participating countries. Kazakhstan ranked 35th in 2021 World Competitive Ranking by the rising 7 points higher compared to 2020 among 64 countries. The past couple of years was really challenging for all sectors of economy and especially for the education system. And there are a lot of lessons that we have learned for these past 2 years that we should consider while we're working on this very important document, Transforming Education Strategies till 2030. And that will be presented and adopted later this year in September. The education system around the world is undergoing major changes, including Kazakhstan. And for the pandemic years, we have seen that the higher education was the most prepared for these challenging situations. And when we look back, there are many challenges that I would like to mention a couple of them. So one of the things that important to talk about that higher education was one of the well prepared. It has a really good infrastructure. LMS system was in place. You know, the teachers had a needed sort of cyber pedagogy skills, and what they did, they really were able to scale up to the whole country. But when we look back, we see that having technological, support and resources was not enough. And one of the challenges that our country faced is that problem with the internet and the poor internet connection. So as we can imagine that teachers are ready, LMS systems are in place. However, the knowledge and the needed information doesn't go to the end receiver, the students. And also another important point that we have learned that it's very important that economic status of the households is also something which should always consider. As we can see that families may have not have the needed technical resources like the laptops and the cell phones and other needed devices. So that's why when we think about transforming education around the world for the next decade, we should when we pursue the high-tech solutions like the digital technologies, we need to consider the readiness of communities, the households, financial situation and abilities to be able to receive the knowledge and follow those recommendations that we will come up later on this year. Another things that I would like to share and that we have learned for the past year that the teachers, the students' perception of education has changed. And then it's the pandemic reset the whole understanding of what's the education, how we can approach to this. And it even opened an opportunity for us to adopt a law for the digital universities. Online universities is something that will be coming up in Kazakhstan. Before that, people couldn't even understand how we can learn online, how that's possible. Now everything is fresh. People are ready to do so. And this is really good opportunity for us as a whole community, to set the goals that really will be achievable and that will transform the education system in the right direction. Another point that I would like to say that we have learned that the education is not just about knowledge. teaching and learning. It's also about the student's social life. It's about well-being. This is the place, the school and the universities are the place where people get the soft skills, they become mature, they become a part of the community. And that's why when we're talking about digital universities and all these high-tech approaches to the education, we should think about this and how we can provide this component so that we achieve the goal of the education system as well. And the final thing I would like to tell is that the pandemic have taught us that when the borders were closed, and the pandemic taught us that we need to bring actually the best universities, the best standards to our country. And one of the things we are trying to do, we are opening branches of the international universities so that the children in Kazakhstan will have access to the best universities, best education back home, so that they will have access to that. Well, and in a conclusion, I would like to say that UNICEF Kazakhstan and UNESCO office has held national consultation on June 14th of this year that brought together representatives of the government, international organizations, communities, schools, and academia. And discussions during the national consultation has happened across 5 priorities. And the first priority is inclusive, safe schools, focusing on well-being of their students. That includes inclusive school environment, safe school environment, and schools focusing on well-being of their students. The second priority that we have identified is learning and skills for life and work and sustainable development, including curriculum that develops and advances skills for life. And the third priority, teachers and teaching. That includes addressing the deficit of qualified teachers, provision of quality pre- and in-service, teacher training and professional development, and teaching profession and leadership in teaching. And fourth priority is digital education. That includes further training provision for teachers and school administrators and online safety. And finally, fifth priority is financing of education. This national consultation took place in recognition of the important role that education plays in human rights and foundation for peace and sustainable development. The consultations took place in anticipation of Transforming Education Summit in September of this year, convened by the UN Secretary General. Thank you very much.